The idea of prostitution has been around for a long time. It has pop culture notions. Any of those terms might bring up ideas, conceptual ideas for somebody who hears the word prostitute, right? We might get an image of somebody walking on a street in a red light district or something like that. And then also prostitution is a legal term. Prostitution is illegal. It's not a legal thing. But it's something that people can choose to do or not choose to do. But in the case of trafficking, folks who are, they're often tricked or forced or coerced into doing sex work, and that's what makes it trafficking. So, I think popular notions and understandings of the word prostitution either are directly connected to like law enforcement and the criminal justice system and legislation, or they bring up these notions of like it's kind of like a volitional act, like somebody is doing this kind of work because it's the work that they have chosen. And I just don't think it's helpful in working with survivors of this particular crime. I guess I would say that how this type of exploitation plays out in our community is limitless. The combinations of how it takes place, it's not one thing, it doesn't look one way. And the examples that I provided earlier are not inclusive. And just for the public to be aware that it can look all sorts of different ways. And to know that when somebody does reach out for help, that believing what they're telling you is really important. It can help them overcome trauma in the long term if they are able to have a positive disclosure experience. And, we can talk about the trafficking population all day long, but really they're people that live in our community. We shop in our stores, they go to our schools, they use our health clinics, they, are community members just like everybody else, and they're deserving of our respect and to be treated with dignity, even though they might not look like us or behave like us. So sex trafficking often is portrayed in the media as like a kidnapping, where people are held against their will and are seeking escape, and that's often not the case. So that does happen, but more often than not, we see this type of exploitation occurring in vulnerable communities and populations. So that would include, people of color. Overwhelmingly, many of the trafficking survivors that we see are youth who are involved with the protective system. So Department of Human Services, maybe they've been adopted and they're going through a rupture in their adoption. Maybe they are foster children. So they have extra vulnerabilities.